Russia detained and interrogated roughly 40 Israelis upon landing at the Moscow airport over their potential involvement in the Iran war. So this was reported in a whole host of Israeli media outlets. I wasn't too surprised when I saw this news, though I will say that some people question the authenticity of the report, because as with our first story of this stream tonight, the Laura Loomer story, it turns out that Zionists have a little bit of a track record exaggerating the so-called oppression that they face in popular society. And this may be some exaggeration, though there have been some, mainstream outlets in the United States that confirmed these reports. And some people were saying, well, the number was not as high as the Israeli citizens you're going to hear from were reporting. It was about 30. But this is essentially what I guess happened. So take a listen to this. Russia detained and interrogated roughly 40 Israelis upon landing at the Moscow airport over their potential involvement in the Iran war. So this was reported in a whole host of Israeli media outlets. The Jerusalem Post also picked this up. Russian authorities detained 40 Israelis landing in Moscow over alleged or potential involvement in Iran war. Let's read. Moscow authorities detained and interrogated these people at the Domodedovo airport on Monday. The Israelis landed on a flight from Tel Aviv. Some of those detained were dual Israeli-Russian nationals, but all had no access to food or water or a bathroom while being detained for several hours, according to the report. That's what happens anytime you get detained in an airport. Like anytime in the U.S., if you get detained in the U.S., it's the same exact thing. You don't get food, you don't get water, you don't... Oh, they do have bathrooms, I think. I'm not 100% sure about that. I've never tried to go to the bathroom in the U.S., but that's like just what happens. If they detain you and they say, hey, we want to ask you some questions, that's what happens, okay? But, of course, for the Israelis, this is like a second Holocaust, okay? The Israelis landed on a flight from Tel Aviv, okay? Security officials demanded the passengers unlock their phones, but the passengers refused. We're Israelis. We don't have to unlock our phones. Even if we're a dual Russian citizen, we don't have to listen to our own security services, right? Screw you guys. We don't have to listen to you. We're better than you. With authorities eventually settling for all mobile devices to be turned off fully, a source told Mediazona. The Israelis were called in for conversations during which some were reportedly told that Iran is Russia's ally and that Iran's enemy is Russia's enemy. The Israelis were then told that their visit to Moscow was not welcome and that they had come for nothing. Now, this statement right here is kind of what I'm like, well, did they really say that? That kind of sounds like something, a border security service wouldn't say to some citizens that are nationals of Russia. Like, okay, they're dual citizens, but like, I don't believe that they necessarily, maybe they said it, I don't know. But I don't even, do I believe that they said that, or do I think maybe some of these Israelis are exaggerating a little bit here? They were then made to sign papers containing warnings over the risk of breaking the law before being released, the outlet reported. The security officials were behaving very politely and carefully when handing over the papers, the source told the outlet. Now we have Israeli source corroborations of the event. An Israeli source corroborated the report to Ynet, but said that the number of Israelis involved is lower, but not by much, than what was stated in the initial report. This incident was later confirmed by a foreign ministry spokesperson who told the Jerusalem Post that as soon as the incident became known, Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar directed ministry staff to act along with the Russian Foreign Ministry and Israel's embassy in Moscow. Following this intervention, the incident was resolved and the Israelis' entry was approved. So, I don't know. It's kind of, it would be base if it was just like some rogue guys at the security service and they're like, all right, we got a plane from Tel Aviv, everybody, let's have some fun. I don't know what happened. I don't even know if this really did. Well, the Foreign Ministry of Israel said it did happen, but it sounds like some of this was maybe a little bit exaggerated. I don't know, but interesting. Very, very interesting in light, of course, of Russia's strategic partnership with Iran. Very interesting in light of Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's recent comments, doing something that none of these so-called brother nations will do, which is relentlessly condemn the U.S.-Israeli attack. He told them to their faces. He's like, look, you're asking them not to respond, but attacks are being launched onto their country and their civilians from your soil, from your airspace. So if you're telling them and begging me to tell them not to respond, you are doing the dirty work of Israel in the U.S. And it's ridiculous. It's unconscionable, right? He didn't hold back when speaking to them. Wise man. And this story is, as I said, is very interesting in light of all this recent news. That's for sure. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.